I will call this meeting to order. This is a meeting of the City of Rancho Mirage City Council, the Library and Observatory Board, the Housing Authority Board, and the City Council representing the Redevelopment Successor Agency. This is the regular meeting for Thursday, November 7th, 2024. The time is 1 p.m. We will begin with a flag salute, and to lead us in the flag salute today, I will ask that candidate who will be the top vote getter in the current election for City Council candidates, Michael O'Keefe. Michael, please lead us today.
Thank you. Please join me in saluting our flag. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which we stand, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Michael. And let's go to the roll call.
Councilmember Mulatto?
Present.
Councilmember O'Keefe?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Weil?
Here.
Mayor Downs?
I am here. Oh, okay. First order of business today is we have an introduction of a new high school principal at the Rancho Mirage High School. So we have with us Dr. Teresa Haga, who was the former principal and is moving to a new role as Director of Classified Human Resources, and she will introduce Brian Hendra, who will be the new high school principal at Rancho Mirage High School. Please come up. And it's good to see you both. Thanks for being here today.
Good afternoon. Thank you for this opportunity. And first of all, as former principal of Rancho Mirage High School, I just want to thank the City of Rancho Mirage for all the support you've given the school since we opened in 2013. I was there in the beginning, and I've really seen all the support for our band and our culinary program and all of our students that you've given to the school, so I really appreciate that. And it is now my pleasure to introduce to you Mr. Brian Hendra, who has been with Palm Springs Unified for 13 years now, and I've had the opportunity to work with him in different capacities throughout that entire time. And so the school is in good hands, so here's Mr. Hendra.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Haga. First of all, thank you guys for this opportunity just to introduce myself. My name is Brian Hendra, obviously the new principal at Rancho Mirage High School. I've been with the district now for 13 years. My passion really is with student education and safety. And I look forward to a healthy collaboration with City Council. Teresa's told me all the great things that you guys have already done for the school, and I'm sure will continue to do. It's an amazing school with only the 3 weeks that I've been there already. We are co-champs for our football team, and we'll be going into CIF this Saturday in Orange County, so we're looking forward to that. I know you guys have supported the band and the arts and everything else at the school, and I really do appreciate everything you've already done there. I look forward to branding the school and making sure that that collaboration with the city is a positive one and continues that way. I have been with, as she mentioned, Palm Springs Unified School District for now a total of 13 years. This is my third school as principal in that capacity, and I was also the Director of Human Resources certificated previously. But my passion for students and their success and their opportunities is really what brought me back to a school site. And thank you for this, just being able to introduce myself.
Thank you, Brian. And welcome to Rancho Mirage. Glad to have you with us. And Teresa, thank you for your years of service to the high school. Very much appreciated. I do want to take a moment to remind you that last year we did donate $25,000 to the school band for their trip to Japan. So we were happy to do that. We have had a long and a great relationship with Rancho Mirage High School in the city, and we look forward to continuing that great relationship with you. So welcome aboard.
I appreciate it. And anytime you guys want to visit the school, please come down for a tour. I would gladly do that. We also have principal for a day coming up here shortly. I would love to have one of you guys in that event. Okay?
Yeah, we'd be happy to be there.
Thank you.
Brian. Thanks. Okay, we will now move on to non-agenda public comments. This is an opportunity for the public to speak on any issue that you wish to speak to that is not on the agenda. If you do want to speak to an agenda item, please wait until that agenda item is called. Please forgive me if you do reach your 3 minutes and I ask you to conclude your remarks because we do ask for you to abide by that 3-minute time limit for non-agenda public comments. And I will ask the city clerk to please handle non-agenda public comments.
Thank you. The first speaker is Maddie Botello.
Good afternoon, Mayor Downs, City Council members, esteemed city staff, and valued guests. My name is Maddie Botello, and I am the owner of Wally's Desert Turtle in Rancho Mirage, right down the street. a proud board member of the Rancho Mirage Chamber of Commerce, and today I'm here to share a brief update on our local business community. Thrive with our membership and now approaching a significant milestone of 650 businesses. So we're very excited about that. We've experienced remarkable growth in recent years, doubling our membership and solidifying our position in the region. Our members collectively represent a workforce of 15,000 to 20,000 dedicated employees. We are excited to partner with the City of Rancho Mirage on the initiative of the Shop Local Gift Card Program. Wally's also signed up for that, and I'm looking forward to other businesses participating. What a great way to get our local community out there and our local businesses and keep it local. We believe in this initiative, and I think it will have a substantial positive impact. We extend our sincere gratitude to the city's support for this program. So thank you. And next update, I just wanted to give an update on Wally's. We are open for the season again, so excited. November is here, and the snowbirds are coming in, and the community is growing. We can see the busyness back on the street, and we are excited to be open for all the holidays. We'll be open for Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. We also will be continuing our happy hour, so if you just want to come in and have a bite at Wally's, you can actually do so with just a small bar bite or a happy hour cocktail or a glass of wine. Listen to live music every single night, and then also, of course, you can dine with us in our fine dining experience in the restaurant. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Maddie. Thanks for being with us today.
Of
So
course.
at the downturn during the pandemic, what was the low point for membership in the chamber? Katie, what was that? It was,
About 275.
okay, so you're well over double where you were at the depths of the pandemic.
650.
Great return
Yeah.
for business in the city.
We're very excited.
Great, thank you. And we will see you Sunday.
See you Sunday.
Maddie, thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much.
You and your family have a long history in the city, and it
Thank
goes
you.
back to your grandfather, isn't it?
Yes, my grandfather. He started the restaurant in 1978 on Restaurant Row.
Yes. So anyway, a long history, and we're very proud of the rest. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. So happy to be a part of both.
Thanks, Maddie.
Susan Ragsdale.
Hello, everybody. I'm really pleased to see you. Welcome back. Mayor Downs, it is my privilege, my pleasure, and my honor to present to you some gifts in donation to the city of Rancho Mirage. First, I have this, which I created for the city. I know my wrapping is unusual. I have to use the table. I brought some scissors. Here they are. Yeah. I think you'll like this. Sorry, it's taking a long time. I didn't want anything to happen to it. This is a Giclée museum quality archival print. I had it done in Madison, Wisconsin. They sent it to me. I designed it specifically for the city. It's on a muslin sheet to protect it. It's very big. I'm going to run out of time. In 1997, I did a whole series of mid-century modern paintings like this in Photoshop and put cats in front of them. I also am here to donate. This is a catalog for my sacred artworks. I've told you about how I took care of my mother for the last 3 years of her life here in Rancho Mirage. And when she was getting close to dying, I started creating this artwork I call Sacred Artworks. It's a play on words. It's verb and noun. Since then, 2010, I studied Buddhism, and that inspired me. I'm also a yogini since 1974 and a yoga teacher. I create like this. It's like, and I love Photoshop. I really took to the computer after being a hands-on artist. I paint. This is a painting I did. I have 144 samples of 1,000 artworks I created in Rancho Mirage in 10 years, 10, 11 years. I am donating all of them to the city of Rancho Mirage, along with all my graphic design skills to employ any kind of marketing you need for anything. If you have a favorite charity, I'm happy to contribute. All I want to do is be helpful. When you see this, you'll probably get to understand who I really am, because I want you all to know this is important. I'm going to end. Every one of you only knows me from slander. Nobody at the City Hall, including Marcus Aleman, has ever had a conversation with me. I have been slandered to death. My life, I hate to say it, was ruined. I didn't want to go into any negative.
Thank you, Susan.
One more thing.
Please be quick.
I'm so sorry. I made 2 versions of the catalog. The cool thing, this is the official. The cool thing about this is that it's protected, so you can flip through it really easily, and you get spreads, so you can see more at one time. I am donating all these mid-century artworks I did in 1997. Everything. So please, I hope you enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan.
Is it all right if I leave the poster there? That's okay.
The next speaker is Michael Phipps Russell.
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of the council, and staff. I'm here today to express a very sincere, heartfelt thank you for your adoption event. As the president of Loving All Animals, I have been to my fair share of adoption events, and by far the graciousness, the thoughtfulness of the layout and the staff, seriously, it was amazing. I felt like truly a guest in one's home. And so did our staff, and 2 of our cute little puppies got adopted within 30 minutes, so that was a great day for us. Even the food was good, so I really wanted to extend to you a very sincere thank you. I hope you do it again, but your staff could not have been more gracious, seriously. I feel bad. I did offer to give a gallon of veterinary-grade disinfectant and deodorizer, and I didn't do that, but if you would like it, I can still get you some. But really, a most sincere thank you. It was really great. So thank you very much.
Thank you for those kind words. Appreciate it.
Brad Anderson.
Hi, Brad Anderson. I currently live in the city of Rancho Mirage. I just want to take the opportunity to congratulate persons that the people of Rancho Mirage selected to be city council members for the foreseeable future. And I want to just sincerely thank the people involved that did the dog event or helped with it, and that's everybody. As I'm a dog lover. I have been since forever. And it's an incredible need in this county and in this eastern Coachella Valley mostly. And so I appreciate what the city is attempting to do, and hopefully everybody can be involved as much as they can be in helping save lives. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Isaiah Harris.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Temp, council members, and staff. Certainly a pleasure to be here today. I just got 2 quick things. One, I want to congratulate Mayor Pro Temp and Councilmember O'Keefe for their successful election and re-election, and certainly wish you tremendous 4 years ahead. The second thing is that I want to thank the city. I didn't even realize that until I was there for some enchanted evening. And I, sitting there and see, Mayor Downs comes out, and that's when I realized that my wife bought these tickets. That's my boss. That I was I was going to go to something that was funded by the city. And then I looked at the tickets and I said, holy smokes, it's really cheap. How can they be so cheap? And so again, thank you, appreciate it. And so I have 2 minutes left, and I'd like to reserve them, if you may, Mr. Mayor, for later. Thank you.
Thank you, Isaiah. And thank you for your mentioning the concert last night at the McCallum. We were delighted to be sponsors last night. Thank you.
Wally Melendez.
Good afternoon, City Council, Rancho Mirage, audience. Nice weather that we are having compared to the hot oven the rest of the 8 months give us of the year. The devil is real. And we, the American people, are the victims of the devil. This so-called Trump winning the presidency is a fake rig by the Kremlin and Putin and the FSB. They are attacking us, America, us Americans. With a cyber psycho warfare that creates mass hysteria on people with disinformation, The Department of Justice and the present administration, I don't think are going to let this pass unchallenged. So Trump better not be getting any ideas that he's going back into the White House. Thank you very much.
That was the last speaker card. Is there anyone else in the audience who did not submit a card but would like to speak on something not on today's agenda? That was the last speaker.
Thank you, Christy. It is now time for council and board member comments, and I will begin today. We just had an election. The vote count isn't final, but it will be certified in the coming weeks, and we will have 2 council members take the oath of office at our first meeting in December. I want to thank all of those, everyone who filed to run for seats on this council. It takes courage to stand up and be counted, and 5 people did. It's certainly the case that there were two of those candidates who I clearly supported, and I'm delighted that they were successful. So congratulations to Mayor Pro Tem Ted Weil. Congratulations to Council Member Michael O'Keefe on your wins in this election. I shouldn't say wins yet because it hasn't been certified, but it will. The results are clear. So that's what I have to say today. Congratulations to both of you, and I am delighted that I will be sitting at this podium, at this dais, with the 2 of you for at least the next 2 years. Congratulations. Councilmember Mulatto.
I echo your comments, Mayor, and I'd also like to thank the residents of the city of Rancho Mirage for their overwhelming participation. It's really a testament to democracy. We have this privilege to cast our votes, to cast our thoughts, and it's a marvelous process in this effort of what we call the American experience. Thank you to all of our residents.
Thank you, Lynn. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. I too would like to thank our residents, our constituents who have sent a message to us that essentially said, we appreciate and want to preserve our quality of life. Please don't make any changes. They also have endorsed the manner in which our city is run from a fiscal standpoint and from a standpoint of managing growth. They have said that what we're doing is consistent with a well-run small city. And so I heard what they had to say, and I believe we as candidates echoed their feelings and their thoughts. They also have said, we very much appreciate law enforcement and what you do for us and how you protect us. And we will continue to support law enforcement. And of course, along with CAL FIRE, does an outstanding job. So again, thank you for the job you do. We are most appreciative of the support. Being a longtime member of this council, I look forward to serving. I am most proud and honored to be able to continue my service for what I consider the best run small city in the country. Thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you, Ted. Councilmember O'Keefe.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good afternoon, everyone. First, I also would like to thank everyone who voted in this election. Participation is important. And I also want to give a special thank you to all of you who voted for me. I'm grateful and I'm humbled by your support. We have a successful, well-run, and beautiful city. And my pledge to you is that I will always do my fiduciary duty, and I will always place the interests of the city of Rancho Mirage above any other personal or private agenda. One of the best parts to me about serving on the city council is that you get to meet interesting people who are doing interesting things. And one of the best things that happened to me this past year was last month's Rancho Mirage Rescue Rally and Pet Adoption. Thank you for being there. More than 200 folks came, and they brought their entire families, their friends, and their pets. It was a lot of fun. So I want to thank my colleagues on the City Council and City Manager Hagerman for supporting the event. And then I want to give a special thanks to those who planned and executed this big event. Our Marketing Director, Gabe Cotting, and his entire team, Haley Tice, Lori O'Keefe, Tyler Folks, and Kai Beach. Also, Code Enforcement Manager Pamela Berkey, who has been with me since day one working on the Animal Campus. And then Library Director Aaron Espinoza and his team at the library, who transformed our world-famous, beautiful Rancho Mirage Library into an animal wonderland for that one day. And the entire staff here at City Hall and at the library who all stood up and volunteered and helped make it a wonderful experience for everybody who came. So our great videographer, Kai Beach, did a video, and I'd like to show it to you now.
The city of Rancho Mirage is helping shelter dogs find their forever homes by hosting an adoption event and covering all the cost. In all, 29 dogs were adopted, 28 spay and neuter operations were completed, and more than 200 wellness appointments were available for vaccines, deworming, microchipping, flea and tick treatments, and more, all for free. Called the Rancho Mirage Rescue Rally, Pet Adoption and Wellness Fair, this event took place at the Rancho Mirage Library and Observatory.
So biggest thing for us right now is space, right? We have 200 dogs at the Coachella Valley Animal Campus, so every dog that gets a home today means that we have kennel space for other dogs that are in need.
Partnering with Riverside County Animal Services, this rescue rally also featured other local animal shelters and experts. Other organizations that facilitated free adoptions included Palm Springs Animal Shelter, Living Free, Loving All Animals, and Animal Samaritans.
There is an oversupply of pets for adoption everywhere, but particularly here. And anything that can bring people out to look at these animals, wonderful animals that need homes, is good.
Key vendors that donated free services were VCA Rancho Mirage Animal Hospital, AmeriVet Veterinary Partners, Veterinary Urgent Care of the Desert, and State Farm Pet Insurance.
I feel like having hey buddy, a dog and a new friend for him. Boy, he grows up would be pretty nice.
An event bringing our community together and helping these shelter dogs find their forever homes.
It was a great day. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Michael. All right, next item on the agenda is comments from our city manager. And after that, Isaiah, we have the consent calendar. So after your comments, please go right to the consent calendar.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No comments today, so I will go right into the consent calendar. The council has 10 items on the consent calendar for their consideration. Item number 1 is to waive the full reading of all ordinances introduced or adopted pursuant to this agenda. Item number 2 is to approve the October 3rd, 2024 regular meeting minutes. Item number 3 is to approve the October 10th, 2024 State of the City special meeting minutes. Item number 4 is to approve the closure of the Rancho Mirage Library and Observatory for the 2025 Rancho Mirage Riders Festival. Item number 5 is to approve the final acceptance of CP 22-375. Item number 6 is to receive and file the 5-year development impact fee report. Item number 7 is to receive and file the September 30th, 2024 quarterly treasurer's report. Item number 8 are to approve the fiscal year 24-25 Special Assistance Fund SAF awards. Item number 9 is to approve contracts, and item number 10 is to approve the demands. Before we go to council comments or questions, I'll ask the city clerk to take public comment on the consent calendar.
Thank you. Brad Anderson?
Brad Anderson, City of Rancho Mirage. I just wanted to speak on item number 3, 4, and 8 briefly. On number 3, that's just the approval of the minutes for the special city council meeting, or State of the City Council meeting on October 10th. I just reviewed them quickly, and I'm not a stickler for the terminology or how it's written down, being direct, or being precise. But my quote was kind of taken incorrectly as far as I'm concerned, meaning it's just minors on the form itself says did not have information, or I suggested that I didn't have information concerning the intent of that meeting. It just, my intent was to, if I didn't say it, it was to relay that there was no information relayed to the public of the purpose of that meeting in the city documents prior to that meeting. And just one other thing concerning that meeting, I know there was at least one other public speaker there, and it's not reflected in the minutes. And I left before the other speaker probably spoke. But so I think they might have an issue with that. And on to number 4, and that's just approval of the closure of the Rancho Mirage Library. I'm all in favor of that, but I just wanted the public to be aware that that is roughly 2 weeks. That will be not, foot traffic would be allowed there. And number 8 is just the approval of the special assistance funds, which is great. It's 41, I believe, 41 nonprofits being awarded $109,000. I'm just remembering this. And that's great, but I do have an issue with the Hero in You, $5,000. I know it's a yearly type of grant that goes to that organization, and I just hope people can look into that a little further. And it's good or bad. I know we have Mr. Tidwell, he's involved with that organization quite heavily. So, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Those were the only speaker cards I received. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on the consent calendar? That was the only speaker.
Thank you, Christie. Do I have any council comments on the consent calendar? Seeing none, may I have a motion and a second?
I'll move to approve the consent calendar.
And I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you, Christie. We will now move to public hearings. We have one item on the public hearing agenda. Is agenda item number 11. The subject of this item is annexation number 196 to Community Facilities District number 1 in connection with the tentative track map number TTM 38224. And to deliver the staff report is financial analyst Jacob Dela Cruz. Jacob?
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon, Council. This item is to hold a public hearing for annexation number 196 into Community Facilities District number 1. This is the second and final step in the city's annexation process for developments within the city's jurisdiction. The first step was considered and approved at the September 5th council meeting. The territory proposed for annexation is located on the northeast corner of Via Josefina and Ginger Rogers Road. It is comprised of one parcel totaling approximately 4.81 acres, and the project is slated to split the parcel into 9 single-family residential lots. At the conclusion of today's public hearing, provided written protests have not been filed, and in the absence of a majority protest, the City Council may consider adoption of the attached resolution calling a special election, declaring the results of the election, determining the validity of prior proceedings, approving the annexation of the territory, and directing the recording of an amendment to the notice of special tax lien. Staff recommends approval, and that concludes my presentation.
Thank you. And let's see. Let's go to public comments first, I guess, and then Christie, would you go to the declare the election results?
Certainly. I did not receive any speaker cards regarding this item. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to provide public testimony regarding this public hearing item? Seeing no speakers, I will read the election results. The ballot for the 5 eligible votes was received on October 7th, 2024, and was in favor. Therefore, votes cast in favor equal 100% of total votes cast.
Okay, thank you. And I guess we had no public comments, so do I have any council member comments on this item? Seeing none, may I have a motion and a second, please?
I'd be happy to make the motion, Mr. Mayor, that the city resolution number 2024 next in order calling an election on levying a special tax within the area proposed to be annexed to the Community Facilities District number 1, annexation number 196, declaring the election results, approving the annexation of the territory, and directing the recordation of the amendment of the notice of special tax lien in connection with tentative tract map number TTM 38224.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second, please vote.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you, Christie. We will now move to the action calendar, and the first item on the action calendar is agenda item number 12. The subject is consider repealing section 2.02.130 of the municipal code and align the procedures to fill city council vacancies with California Government Code 36512 parens B. And to deliver the staff report is City Attorney Colin Kirkpatrick. I'm sorry, I mispronounced your name. Colin?
Thank you, Mayor. So the City Council adopted the ordinance which added section 2.02130 sometime in 1979. That provides for a specific procedure in the event of an appointment. As mentioned in the staff report before you, Government Code 36512 subpart B provides what I'll call the default procedure for a city council when it elects to go through an appointment to fill a vacancy. And that's set out in front of you. That includes, as you're familiar with, the 60-day deadline to either call a special election or fill the office by vacancy. 36512C provides some 3 separate options that a city council can consider to adopt via ordinance, which either amends or deviates partially from what I'd call the default in subpart B. Given that the city's adopted section 2.02130, it deviates from the default procedure in 36512 subpart B. So all that to say, if the city council were to adopt this ordinance today, it would have repealed that section, which would then default to what I again call the default procedures regarding filling vacancies in the city council. And because it is an ordinance that relates to an election, the government code specifically says that that ordinance takes effect immediately, whereas you're familiar with general ordinances usually require 2 readings and they're not effective until 30 days after the second reading. So this one is unique in that regard. And if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
Thank you, Colin. Would the city clerk please handle public comment?
Certainly. Brad Anderson?
Thank you again, Brad Anderson. Currently live in the city of Rancho Mirage. The 30-day issue is, I think pay raises go in effect right away too. So anyway, just making light of that. This is confusing. I just saw it this morning. I'm saying, well, okay, kind of up on that, but and I was worried about the staff report. Apparently, it states that the mayor brought this forward, and I thought, well, does it take 2 city council members to bring something forward? I'd like more transparency. I think that's always been an issue with this city. In this type of, and I guess I'm concerned about changing the rule, changing what's, I don't have any problem if we're abiding by the law, and that's what we're doing, apparently. And if that's true, we had other appointments prior, after 1979. So I would say maybe if we have it already, maybe have another legal term or firm look at this besides the contracted city attorney that we have now, and just to verify, because I'd hate to see any legal action taken. Not that I'm attempting to say I'm going to take legal action, but let's do everything up on board. I'm not in favor of this right now because it's just last minute, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Isaiah Harris?
Again, good afternoon to all. I'm Isaiah Harris, and I certainly appreciate the opportunity to address you all regarding this important change in how the city fills vacancies in the city council. I fully support the process that the council has embarked on to repealing section 2.02.130. I'm here today to share with you some of my thoughts on the proposed ordinance as published in the meeting agenda. The way the ordinance is written, the residents of Rancho Mirage would have to read Government Code 36512 to try and decipher the actions to be taken by the council to fulfill a vacancy. I believe the ordinance should be clear, straightforward for residents to understand and for the council to implement. To that end, I offer the following. The ordinance as written does not have a section 3. It went 1, 2, 4. I suggest that section 3 should be inserted, and I propose the following. Section 3, council vacancies. Item A on that should be, if a vacancy occurs on the city council shall, within 60 days from the commencement of the vacancy, either fill the vacancy by appointment or call a special election to fill the vacancy as provided by subsection B of California Government Code section 36512. Item B, if the city council fills a vacancy by appointment, the person appointed shall hold office only until the date on which the city holds a special election, which shall immediately be called to fill the remainder of the term as permitted under section C3 of the California Government Code, section 36512. The special election may be held either on the date of the next regularly established election or regularly scheduled municipal election to be held throughout the city, not less than 114 days from the call of the special election as provided by subsection C3 of California Government Code, section 36512. Item C, and this is Isaiah special. The person appointed shall be barred from being a candidate to fill the remainder of the term of this vacancy. Item D, amendments to Government Code Section 36512, subsection B and C3 are hereby automatically incorporated into this section. So the above, for me, would lay out precisely how the process would work.
Your 3 minutes are up, but you did save 2 minutes from your initial comments, so I'll give you more time.
Ooh, that took me 3 minutes. I appreciate that. I apologize. So I got to skip over the rest. Section 7 in the ordinance, I didn't quite understand it. It talks about amending of bail schedule. I'm not sure what the relevancy is, and hopefully the city attorney may address that. But I do have 145. Thank you. Going back to the implementation, I certainly do believe that if, the appointments that the city council has made over the years have been, to me, good appointments because the folks get reelected. But my only concern is that when someone is appointed, they basically have a leg up in terms of going out into election. You interview 11 candidates, and I'm going to say of the 11 candidates last time, I thought 4 were pretty good. So, any of the 4 that were selected, I wouldn't have any issues with that. And I would assume that those would have performed just as well as Michael has and would have had a leg up in the re-election. So my concern is by doing that, it does give somebody a leg up. But I certainly would like more clarity in terms of the process so that it's quite clear when you read it as a resident, you understand what the process is. And I do appreciate that. And thanks for the extra time, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Isaiah.
That was the last speaker card. Is there anyone else who would like to speak regarding agenda item number 13? No additional speakers. Oh, 12, I'm sorry. Agenda item number 12. No additional speakers.
Okay, thank you, Christy. All right, council comments on this item? Don't all speak up at once. I do have a comment that I would like to make. And as a general rule, I'm usually in agreement with most of the ideas that Isaiah Harris comes up with. I think that you do a great job in service to our city in your thinking and your thought process. But I do disagree with this concept that we should bar appointees from serving in an upcoming election. I am opposed to establishing artificial restrictions on any person who seeks to serve on this council. There are no such artificial restrictions that occur for a person who wishes to file to run in a regular election. And I don't believe that there should be similar restrictions applied to someone who would apply to serve as an appointee. I think the rules should be the same, regardless of whether you seek appointment or if you seek election. And it's also the case that the voters in this city over the years have dramatically endorsed the appointees of this city council. So much so that in the current election, Michael O'Keefe, who was an appointee last year, will end up with the largest vote count, almost 5,000 votes, somewhere between 4,500 and 5,000 votes is probably what he will end up with once all of the votes are counted. That will be the second largest number of votes ever cast for a council member in the history of the city of Rancho Mirage. And I think putting an artificial restriction like that would be telling those 4,500 people that their votes didn't count. So I am opposed to these artificial restrictions. Any other comments?
Mayor, I echo those. I was silent because I was waiting till you had finished your remarks. Why would we want to restrict somebody, basically, that conceivably would be doing a good job, that would be doing a service for our city, and then have a mandatory restriction on that person continuing their service? So I, too, find that the restriction does not bode well for our residents, and I would be against that.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Mulatto?
if I may, when an individual is appointed to the council, it's a probationary period. If the person does not live up to the expectations of the residents or does not fulfill his duties and chooses to run for election, then the constituents can prevent him from taking a seat. So if people can realize that this is not an easy task and it's not an easy seat to fill, and when someone is appointed, the council, after interviews, does a complete vetting. And it is our, when we choose someone to sit in this seat, it's because they are competent, they are thoughtful, they are measured, which has been the success of this city's results for many, many years. And so they are on a probationary period. You cut the mustard, Michael. He did a phenomenal job, and I think the voters recognize that. So that's my contribution to the discussion.
So I guess the last item that I would add to my comments is that I did talk with the city attorney about this concept of placing such an artificial restriction on an appointee. And the answer is that we probably could if we chose to do so. However, the other answer is that it is probably unenforceable. And the reason is that the laws that apply to those who file to run for office are covered by the state of California, and there are no rules within the state code, within the state law, that would allow for removal of someone who did apply to, who did file for a future election, even though they were appointed, even though we did have such a law. There's no way for it to be enforced. So there's no reason to enact such a provision if it's not possible to enforce it, let alone the fact that, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, I think we would be dismissing 4,500 voters who are going to vote for Michael O'Keefe in this election. Okay, any other comments? All right, may I have a motion and a second, please?
I'll move that the City Council adopt ordinance number next in order repealing Section 2.02.130, vacancies in City Council offices, of Chapter 2.02, City Council, of Title II, Administration and Personnel, of the Rancho Mirage Municipal Code.
And I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you, Christy. Okay, we move now to the next item on our action calendar, which is agenda item number 13. The subject of this agenda item is to consider options for filling city council vacancy. And before going to the staff report, I would like to remind this chamber that at the last council meeting, we decided to delay the decision in dealing with this vacancy until after the election, because 2 of our council seats were on the ballot. And we concluded that knowledge of voter choice in the election for those 2 seats would provide clarity in our decision about filling this vacancy. Well, we now know the results of the election. Incumbents Ted Weil and Michael O'Keefe are overwhelmingly the voters' choice. It's also the case that Michael, who was appointed last year, will be the largest vote getter in this election. When the vote count is final, it appears that Michael will win with somewhere between 4,500 and 5,000 votes. As I mentioned a few minutes ago, the second largest number of votes ever cast for a candidate for city council in the history of the city of Rancho Mirage. So we now know the election results, and I believe we now have the clarity that we had hoped for. So now I will go to the staff report, and I will deliver the staff report today. The specific request is that the city council consider an appointment process according to the dates outlined in the staff report and the attached application. Background: the resignation of a former council member from the city council creates a vacancy that must be filled. The council has 60 days from the date of the resignation to make a decision as to how to fill the vacancy. As the resignation was on September 19th of 2024, we have until November 18th of 2024 to make our decision. The options to fill the vacancy are, number one, this council can seek applicants for potential appointment to fill the vacancy, or number two, this council can authorize a special election to fill the vacancy. If the decision is to seek applicants for potential appointment, that appointment must be made by the 60th day after the resignation, which is November 18th. However, there is no assurance that the council will agree on an acceptable appointee. If the council goes through the appointment process but does not find an applicant that receives a majority vote, a special election could still be called by the council. The voters have overwhelmingly supported the appointment choices made by this council in previous years. At this point in the vote count for this year, it is clear that the same will happen for Michael O'Keefe, who was appointed last year and is now on track to win election by a margin of about 80% compared with the closest losing candidate. Our residents have spoken clearly on this issue again and again. The appointment process is a probationary period where residents have an opportunity to observe a council member in action instead of relying on empty campaign promises before casting their votes. The appointment process also encourages more participation from residents. When I was appointed in 2021, there were 16 applicants, 16, for that appointment. When I ran for election in 2022, there were 6 applicants for 3 seats. When Michael O'Keefe was appointed about 11 months ago, there were 11 applicants. In the election, including Michael, there were 5 candidates for 2 seats. So the appointment process dates would be, if approved by the council today, the application would be available today, November 7th, 2024. Applications would be due to the city clerk by Wednesday, November 13th, 2024 by 5 p.m. There would be a special city council meeting on Thursday, November 14th. Forgive me, the staff report reads 1 p.m. The time would be 3 p.m. to interview all applicants. The reason for that, by the way, is that there is a planning commission meeting at 2 p.m. that day. The special council meeting on Friday, there would be a special council meeting on Friday, November 15th, 2024 at 1 p.m. to consider voting on an appointment or calling an election if a majority vote is not obtained. That concludes my staff report, and I will ask the city clerk to conduct public comment.
Thank you. Brad Anderson.
Hello again, Brad Anderson, City of Rancho Mirage. As the city mayor spoke concerning their decision, I think he said the last council meeting, or the council meeting, yeah, I guess it would have been the last council meeting. There was no staff report readily available for that item either, just like today. This morning I was on the internet and the staff for this application process was not available until I got to City Hall today. So the transparency factor, again, is off on that. I'm concerned. There seems to be a lot of political talk concerning votes and who's the better candidate, I guess, according to city council members. And that's okay, but also it's inaccurate to a certain degree, too, for... I mean, we know we had political signs up way in advance of the incumbents where the other candidates were not allowed that opportunity. That's just one aspect. But I'm not going to go down that little trail yet. But I'm all in favor of a special election. Leave that seat empty until the people of the city of Rancho Mirage chooses who they want to represent them. And I would just, I guess, encourage the council to consider bringing in the second least voted person, or I forget how you phrased that, of the election, and appoint that person. Because we know they went through the process. They went through the probation period of going through the candidate process to be elected. And that would be an eye-opener, but I doubt that would happen. But appointments, yes, appointments has been approved, but they do have a leg up. I agree, you can't not ban that. It's just like term limits. I'm against term limits. You can't have term limits. If people are bad, we will vote them out. I never heard that appointment would be a probation period. Maybe that's written somewhere. I don't see it like that. I don't see it as a probation period. But I'm all in favor of letting the people decide who they want and do away with the appointment process as this city does it. And that's all I have. Thank you.
That was the only speaker card. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Okay, come up and please state your name.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, City Council. I'm Isaiah Harris, and I certainly appreciate the education and information that you shared with respect to communication from the city attorney about barring folks from being able to think I didn't know. That statement in my comments. With respect to the path forward right here, the mayor spoke to the fact that by appointing someone, they'd be in a probationary period, and that is indeed true, and I certainly support that concept. But what I laid out in my approach to placing it, that person would be on probation for a minimum of 114 days. So if they appointed, the minimum is 114 days before you call an election, that person would be on probation for 114 days. They can run, as opposed in this case, I'm assuming it's going to be to the end of the vacancy that is as it now stands. That's my assumption. I'm not quite clear on what the path is. But if you implement what I suggested, extracting the barring from running, then that person would be on probation for a minimum of 114 days. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak on this item? That was the last speaker.
Thank you, Christy. Okay, council comments. I'll make the first comment, which is that it is the case that the staff report was online, so I appreciate your concern about staff reports being issued timely. There was a problem, an obvious problem, in issuing this staff report in conjunction with the city agenda so that we would understand what the results were and that would give us clarity as to how to move forward. It was not possible, as a result, for me to write this staff report until yesterday. So I hope that puts that issue to rest. There is a reason why we wanted to delay. You now know the reason, and you now...
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Under normal circumstances, I believe elected officials should be elected. Here are our current circumstances. A city council member resigned 6 weeks before a municipal election. Then we had the election with 5 candidates vying for 2 positions, which left 3 candidates rejected by the voters. If we have a special election, I believe it should be fair to all, open to all, and on a level playing field and not stacked in favor of any 1 or 2 candidates. So as I've told you before, I always have pledged to put the interests of the city of Rancho Mirage above any other agenda. So therefore, what I think is best for the city and what is the fairest for all people who would like to serve on the city council is that we open the application process to anyone who would like to apply and then fill that vacancy with someone to serve until the next election, which I hope by then would be under normal circumstances where everyone who wanted to participate would have a fair chance to do so. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Michael. Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. As the mayor outlined previously, the number of applicants generally with an appointment far exceeds the number of people that want to participate in a general election. As was reviewed previously, that number can vary from 11 to 16. When you have an election, you might get 2 or 3. And there's a reason for that. Number 1, the time involved. And number 2, the expense of campaigning. To campaign for a position on the city council can cost anywhere from, frankly, $25,000 to $80,000, depending upon how aggressive an individual wants to be in communicating his position. Therefore, it limits the number of people that are willing to do that. When it comes to an appointment, because there is essentially no cost involved other than the time, you get far more participants and far many more people that step up and say, yes, I would like to volunteer. And every one of those individuals that fills out an application will be given their opportunity to be interviewed in public. Now, use the word transparency. Transparency is a term that's thrown around, frankly, quite loosely, generally during campaign periods. Transparency oftentimes is a synonym for, well, I don't agree with you. But in this case, there is total transparency. Every application, every individual that follows up with the application will be interviewed in this chamber so that every member of the public sees what we see before we end up making a decision. So I very much encourage the appointment process, and I would look forward to recommending that at the conclusion of this conversation. Thank you, Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem. Councilmember Mulatto.
One thought. I was part of an appointment interview where there were 16 applicants. I was ultimately ran for council and was elected. I'd like to share with the public that those applicants, often is the case, they're existing commissioners that have served an extended period of time for our city on one of our 13 commissions. They understand the government process. They're familiar with our running of this city. They're citizens. And that helps in the selection process because they are familiar with what subject matters we are dealing with. Now, are all applicants commissioners? No. Some have served in other capacities, whether it's Palm Springs Unified School District, whether it's a special district or board. The applicants, by and large, are coming with a broad knowledge, institutional knowledge and education to help us fill that vacancy. And it's a hard job for a council to select a person when you have so many applicants with that broad knowledge. And we're all the better for it as a community. It's also reassuring to see the level of commitment and desire to serve this wonderful city we call home. That's all I need to add at this point.
Thank you, Lynn. The last thought that I have on this is with respect to the concept that, Wally, I'm sorry, but we have concluded with public comment. So if you do want to make a comment, you'll have to wait until I call the next agenda item. And I promise you that I'll call you first after we read the next agenda item. But in any event, the issue that I wanted to speak to for a moment is the concept that we simply appoint the person who finished third in the current election. I reject that idea. And here's the reason. We had 5 candidates in this current election. We had 2 incumbents, we had 1 challenger, and we had 2 clear opposition candidates who, if you listened to their rhetoric, didn't like a single thing about this council. And they spoke negatively every chance they had. Now, the voters are in the process of accepting the 2 incumbents, and they are in the process of rejecting the 2 opposition candidates. This was not an election where we picked 1st through 5th by preference. What we did in this city is we picked the 2 people that we liked and wanted to serve on this council and believed would do a good job for this city, and we rejected the 2 people who spoke negatively every chance they could about this city. And I believe it would be ridiculous for us to appoint a person who was rejected by the voters in this city. So I reject that idea that we simply pick the person who voted third, because we would be disrespecting, in my opinion, the will of the 4,000 plus voters in this city who have voted for Ted Weil and Michael O'Keefe. I have no more comments. Anyone else? Anything else? May I have a motion and a second, please?
I'd like to make the motion, please. That the City Council consider an appointment process according to the dates outlined in the staff report and the attached application.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you, Christie. Next item on the action calendar is agenda item number 14. The subject is fiscal year 2023-2024 summary and year-end budget adjustments. And to deliver, well, I've got two names here who are delivering the staff report. We've got the Assistant Director of Administrative Services, Joseph Carpenter, and we have Director of Administrative Services, Kofi Antobam. So I'll let the two of you fight it out as to who's going to start.
He's doing it.
Okay.
Good afternoon, members of the City Council. Today's presentation will focus on a review of the general fund operating and non-operating or capital budget versus actual results for fiscal year 23-24. The action the Council takes this afternoon to amend the budget as requested in the staff report will serve as the mechanism to comply with the city's budgeting policy for financial reporting purposes. The general fund summary provides a high-level summary of the operating and non-operating revenues and expenditures of the general fund. The table currently shown on your screen highlights the fiscal year 23-24 budget, year-end actuals, and the calculated difference between the two. If you focus your attention on the operating section, shaded in green on your screen, you will see for the fiscal year, the general fund had operating revenues of approximately $35.2 million and expenditures of $32.5 million for an operating surplus of just over $2.7 million. The operating surplus for the fiscal year ended June 30, 2024, was $1.9 million higher than budgeted, as revenues came in a little higher and expenditures came in a little lower than expected. Actual operating revenues were $1.2 million higher than budgeted for the fiscal year. As shown on the table, actual revenue exceeded budgeted revenue by approximately $508,000 for property tax, $260,000 for franchise tax, $192,000 for transient occupancy tax, $167,000 for the CFD number 1 transfer, and the remaining 30-plus revenue sources experienced a combined increase of approximately $161,000. Adding to the $1.2 million increase in operating revenue is a reduction of about $612,000 in operating expenditures. General fund operating expenditures are broken down into 3 object levels: personnel, which includes salaries and benefits, operations and maintenance, and department equipment. At an object level, personnel was $17,000 over budget, operations and maintenance was $778,000 under budget, and department equipment items were over budget by about $159,000. The increase in personnel is the result of higher than anticipated increases in medical premiums, while the increase in department capital can be primarily attributed to the purchase of 2 electric vehicles approved by the City Council at the October 5th, 2023 meeting. The decrease in operating and maintenance is primarily attributed to a decrease in the anticipated subsidy to the fire tax fund, which was caused by increases in revenue from CFD number 1, the Community Services District, and the Medical Insurance Billing Program. Please note, all expenditures that exceeded their budget for the fiscal year and require amendments to the budget to maintain compliance with the city's budgeting policy can be found on attachment 2 of the staff report. The non-operating or capital budget provides information about infrequent or one-time revenues in addition to capital projects and one-time programs that invest funds into the community. The general fund had non-operating or capital revenues of approximately $1.9 million and non-operating or capital expenditures of roughly $11 million for capital spending of about $9.1 million. The timing of these infrequent or one-time revenues and expenditures can lead to variances between what was budgeted and what is received or spent. Grant revenues often depend on projected project milestones, and funding requests are subject to reviews by the various federal and/or state agencies involved in the funding program, and the timing of major capital projects can cause the budget to be spread across multiple fiscal years, causing fluctuations in actual spending when compared to the budget. Significant one-time programs and capital projects that occurred during the fiscal year include ADA access ramps at various locations along Bob Hope Drive and Highway 111 to Ramon Road and the intersections of Country Club and Vista del Sol and Monterey Avenue and Avenida Las Palmas. Emergency repairs related to Hurricane Hilary, the closure of the turf rebate program, and undergrounding of approximately 2 miles of utility lines along Bob Hope and Frank Sinatra. To recap, for fiscal year 23-24, the city had $2.7 million operating surplus and capital spending of $9.1 million for a total deficit of approximately $6.3 million. In the first column along the bottom of the screen, you will see that the city started the fiscal year with approximately $67.1 million in general fund reserves, and after accounting for the spending of $6.3 million for the fiscal year, the city will end this fiscal year with approximately $60.7 million in general fund reserves. It should be noted, unassigned fund balance is money that has not been committed for a specific use and is available for any purpose, while funds in the city's 6 remaining reserve accounts have a specific commitment and can only be used for that purpose unless modified by the City Council. The Economic Development Reserve is to be used to continue the economic development efforts of the former RDA. This reserve was used during the fiscal year to fund parking lot improvements and utility undergrounding. To conclude, the city achieved a robust operating surplus of $2.7 million, driven by higher than expected revenues and lower than anticipated expenditures. The city invested $9.1 million into the community through its non-operating or capital budget, utilizing $6.3 million in reserves. The city remains fiscally sound, reveals no structural operational issues, and maintains a reserve balance of approximately $60.7 million. Thank you for your time and consideration this afternoon. Staff is available for any questions.
Thank you, Joseph. Would the city clerk please handle public comment?
Certainly. Brad Anderson?
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Brad, would you wait just a moment? I did tell Wally that I would ask him to come first. I apologize, Brad. You'll get you'll get your chance in a moment.
I didn't want to speak on this item. I made it.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, can you explain to us again how 3 of the 5 candidates that were running for the 2 positions got rejected by the voters? What does that mean?
Thank you, Wally. Brad, I'm sorry, you're going to pass, or do you want to speak?
I'm sorry. I just wanted to speak on the closed session topic, so I may have miswrote on my card. Thank you.
Okay, we'll get to that then in a moment. Thanks.
Are there any other speakers on agenda item number 14? No additional speakers.
Thank you, Christy. Do I have any council comment on the staff report?
No, other than the fact I think it's an outstanding position to be in, a city our size, to have a reserve balance that we do, I think is quite outstanding.
I do too. I do have one question though. Wasn't there at least 1 or 2 public works items that we expected to spend over a couple of years that sped up, that resulted in some deficit spending?
That was the utility undergrounding.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So it's not as though we didn't expect to spend that money, but we had intended originally to spend that money in future years, and it's.
Do you make the motion that the City Council of the City of Rancho Mirage and the Board of Directors for the City of Rancho Mirage Community Services District, City of Rancho Mirage Housing Authority, and City of Rancho Mirage Library and Observatory adopt the resolutions identified as resolutions A through D? A, resolution number 2024, next in order, amending the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget. B, resolution 2024 CSD, next in order, amending the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget. C, resolution number 2024 HA, next in order, amending the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget. And D, resolution number 2024 LB, next in order, amending the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you, Christy. Okay, we now move on to the next item on our action calendar, which is agenda item number 15. The subject of this agenda item is award of contract for Country Club Drive pavement rehabilitation city project CP 23-391, and the city manager would like to start the discussion on this staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to take a second to acknowledge one of our great staff members who's in the audience today. So the city is very blessed to have very dedicated people, and most of the time their work is behind the scenes, but obviously what they do on a daily basis, you see the result of on this agenda. So Charlie Nesbitt is our project manager, and I'm extremely thankful for Charlie. He went through a significant medical issue that resulted in a brain surgery, and he had a very long road to recovery with some scary moments. And there was a time when we didn't think Charlie would be able to return to his work here at City Hall, but through his own perseverance, he not only made it through that very difficult process, but he also was eager to get back into City Hall and, telling us, hey, I can do a little bit more. I can do a little bit more. And probably much sooner than his doctor probably liked, Charlie was coming back and doing what he could. It started with a modified schedule. Frankly, he didn't need to do that, but he wanted to do that. And there were several items on today's agenda that Charlie has worked on, which is why he's here. But I also wanted to just take a second to say thank you, Charlie. Love to have you part of the team here. And, from a public perspective, these are some of the faces behind the scenes that you might not encounter, but their work is important and definitely contributes to the great city that we have here in Rancho Mirage. So, Charlie, great to have you back, and thanks for all you do for us. Ryan?
Let's recognize Charlie.
So to fight back into City Hall, thank you, Charlie. Go ahead, Ryan.
So now that you've met the superstar of the department, you get the second class here. So the funny bit about Charlie entering the workplace again is he has all kinds of funny adages, one of which is when he talks to all of our project people or any of our consultants, he tells them that he's been in the Bahamas for 9 months. So he has not only a good desire to get back in here and work, but he's got a great sense of humor about the journey he's been on the last year. So we're really glad to have him back. But again, I have a PowerPoint that should be pulling up here in a second. And let me make sure here to present a project to you that we're labeling as the Country Club Pavement Rehab Project by way of vicinity. On the screen here, we have Highway 111 shown, Country Club Drive shown in the red line, Morningside Drive, and in the staff report, I've been using Morning Springs Road, which many people don't even realize or recognize because we go by it so quickly and it's a very small roadway. So what we would like section of Country Club from Morning Springs on the east to Highway 111 on the west. A few years back, we conducted a pavement condition index report that largely shows that the city is maintaining its roadways at a percentile that would make most cities in California jealous. However, we do have some sore spots. This was one of them. So as our 7-year rotation moves around the city, we try and handle not only our slurry program, but the roadways that need more than just slurry. So the bid that was conducted and the low bidder, Vance Corporation, is proposing about a 6-week program where we begin with utility modifications, about 3 weeks worth of actual grind and resurfacing. That's the heavy equipment that will be out on the roadway. And the most of the other 3 weeks are just minor concrete demolition, new 88 access ramps, followed by striping and pavement markings, cleanup and punch list at the conclusion. We should be out of here by the end of the calendar year, if not sooner. And again, to use some of the aerials, it's just much easier for us all to understand. We have Country Club Drive shown from Morning Springs on the east, on the right-hand side of the screen, and on the left, Highway 111. And this is a little bit of a zoom in on the section of roadway. It's a 4-lane road with a striped median. The contractor is proposing to start in the number 1 lanes. So we would keep one lane in each direction open at all times. They would take care of all of the rehabilitation in the number 1 lanes, at which time they would reopen those lanes, and that we would come into the number 2 lanes to complete those, and then we would be off the roadway with striping and cleanup. So with that, that concludes my staff report. We again are recommending award of contract to Vance Corporation in the amount of 1.649, well, hang on, without my glasses, $1,649,883.02. That concludes staff's report, and I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Ryan. Would the city clerk please conduct public comments?
I did not receive any speaker cards. Is there anyone who'd like to speak on agenda item number 15? No speakers.
Thank you, Christie. Do I have any council member comments? Other than this road certainly needs repair.
Yeah.
Okay, may I have a motion and a second, please?
I'll move. The City Council authorized the city manager to enter into an agreement with Vance Corporation in the amount of $1,649,883.02 as it relates to the Country Club Drive Pavement Rehabilitation Project, CP 23-391.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you, Christie. That concludes our regular agenda for today. Before we recess into closed session, I will ask the city attorney to please review for the public that which we will be discussing in closed session.
Thank you, Mayor. We'll be convening in a closed session for the items before you on the agenda, with the first item being conference with labor negotiator pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6A. The designated city labor negotiator is Isaiah Hagerman, the city manager, and the employee organization is Rancho Mirage Employees Association. Second item being conference with real property negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8. The property location is 72201 Manufacturing Road, Thousand Palms, California, 92276. The negotiators are Isaiah Hagerman and Ryan Stendell. The negotiating parties are the City of Rancho Mirage and Coachella Valley Association of Governments. Under negotiation is price and terms of payment. The final being conference with legal code section 54956.9 subpart D4 with 2 potential cases.
Thank you, Colin. I believe we do have someone who wishes to speak about closed session. Brad Anderson.
Thank you once again, Brad Anderson. I currently live in the city. I wanted to speak on the closed session topics 1, 2, and 3. Number 1 is the negotiation with the Rancho Mirage Union Employment Association. Just on the term, the city manager will be negotiating this alone without the city attorney. According to this, and I'm sure the city attorney will be involved in that, so that's probably a good thing to note for future agenda items. I would suggest that anyway. And item number 2 is just apparently, again, negotiation for real property in Thousand Palms. It's probably the yard, I guess, the city yard. And I don't know if I said it before, but I've been here a number of years. I'm sure I have. But I would like to see the city move from the location outside of the city boundaries inside the city boundaries of all services. So I don't think purchasing more property in unincorporated I'm kind of giving myself away. Riverside County is probably not the best thing to do, especially when it might be sucked up by, what's that other city? Cathedral City in the future, possibly, with the sphere of influence. And just highlight or end in item number 3, and that's initiation of possibly 2 more legal cases or whatever that may be. I'm not asking for disclosure, but and I won't use transparency anymore because that's probably a hot button item now. So I'll find another term for that. But just more openness about what's going on in the city, I would appreciate it. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we are recessed into closed session. We are back in Open session, we have completed closed session. I will ask, before I adjourn the meeting, I will ask the city attorney to please recap discussion in closed session.
Thank you, Mayor. No reportable action taken today.
Thank you, Colin. This meeting is closed. This meeting is adjourned.